Breaking news as we come on the air tonight. A massive manhunt underway hours after a mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine, home to Bates College. It left at least 20 believed dead and dozens more injured. Law enforcement releasing images of a person of interest holding what appears to be an assault-style rifle, entering a bowling alley and a second location. Tonight, horror in Lewiston, Maine.
The only thing that we heard was this really loud bang, and a lot of us thought like a bowling ball kind of like smashed on the ground or something.
At least 20 people are believed dead and dozens more injured in shootings in at least 2 locations in the town just 35 miles north of Portland, Maine.
To respond to the town of Lewiston for 2 active shooter locations, all available units.
At approximately 6:56 this evening, a couple of shooting incidents occurred here with multiple casualties in the city of Lewiston.
The places targeted: a pool hall called Shemengi's Bar and a bowling alley, Spare Time Recreation. Police say the person of interest, 40-year-old Robert Card, seen here in these grainy surveillance images, armed with an assault-style weapon.
Card is considered armed and dangerous. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward until that changes. If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way.
Authorities are still on the hunt for Card, who so far remains at large. The FBI sending in aviation units to help in the search. Lewiston police releasing this photo of Card's white Subaru, which authorities have now traced to a location in Lisbon, Maine. Maine State Police urging nearby residents to stay inside their homes with doors locked. Earlier tonight, I spoke with Riley Dumont, who was with her family inside the bowling alley. She says a kids' league was underway when shots rang out. How many shots did you hear fired?
Oh gosh, I would probably say like maybe 4 or 5.
And you said it felt like it went on forever.
Yeah, it felt like it lasted a lifetime.
Riley says her father, Ron Dumont, a retired police officer, leapt into action.
My dad's been a police officer for 40 years, and he literally just went into action in that moment and just kind of corralled us all and made sure we were all safe and that the scene, he was waiting for the cops to walk through the front door, and he put protection in front of us and tables and like a big bench that the kids were hiding behind. I was scooched on the floor with my daughter and my mom and a couple of other kids and parents.
And you are convinced your father helped save people?
Yeah.
What were the sights and the sounds as the gunfire is underway?
I just remember people sobbing and crying, and people around me were not screaming, but like whimpering, and my mom and I were just trying to keep everybody quiet and consoling each other. But I really, the sounds that I heard were only closest to me, and then the gunshots sound, and that's all I remember hearing.
We're learning more tonight about law enforcement's main person of interest, Robert Card. Sources telling ABC News Card had a history of military service and is a firearms instructor. Sources also tell ABC News he spent 2 weeks this past summer at a mental health facility after he reported hearing voices. Card also reportedly made threats to shoot up a National Guard facility.
We have literally hundreds of police officers working around the state of Maine.
Tonight, the president speaking with Maine's governor as the nation grapples with yet another mass shooting. And joining me now, ABC's senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky. Aaron, you've been following this all evening. Police put out a photo of a person of interest, a 40-year-old Robert Card, and you've been digging into his background. What can you tell us?
We've learned that he's from Bowdoin, Maine, and he has a military history and was a firearms instructor. That's one worrying detail because he obviously knows his way around a gun, and the authorities believe he is armed and dangerous, and he's potentially putting people in harm's way.
And he was also had an interaction with a mental health facility this summer.
He did. This past summer, he spent 2 weeks at a mental health facility somewhere in Maine after he reported hearing voices, and after the authorities were told, said that he made some threats to a National Guard base in Saco, Maine, where he may have some military ties. Those things put him in a mental health facility for 2 weeks of treatment. He was discharged, but now the authorities are looking to see whether this shooting may have been the act of someone who did have some mental health issues. But so far, Card has only been labeled a person of interest.
And we spent the evening listening to updates from authorities. The shots rang out somewhere around 7 p.m., and we know that there were at least 2 locations. One was a bowling alley. We spoke to eyewitnesses who reported hearing those gunshots. And there was a bar and grill as well. But the police pretty quickly put out a photo of him with an assault-style weapon.
It shows you how worried the authorities are about the potential for ongoing danger and why they felt the need to warn the public to stay away from this person of interest if they somehow encounter him, but also just to stay indoors because they didn't know where the next victim might come from. The authorities were able to track his vehicle, a white Subaru, not in Lewiston, but in nearby Lisbon, Maine, and put people in that community on a shelter-in-place order as well. Schools have already been canceled as a precaution because they just want to make sure people are not placed in harm's way by a very dangerous person of interest.
And federal authorities also got involved. We were talking about hundreds of law enforcement officers heading to the scene, as well as the fact that the President of the United States and the Attorney General were very quickly briefed on the situation and kept up to date. What does that tell you about the gravity of what was happening? It
was evident almost from the outset that this is bloody and that the carnage is extensive. The President was briefed quickly, as was the Attorney General of the United States, and all manner of federal agencies, the FBI, the Secret Service, Customs, the Marshals, everybody, ATF, sent resources into Maine to assist primarily with the manhunt, but then with some of the investigative work. And if the multiple scenes hold and if they are as brutal as some of our law enforcement sources have described, there's going to be a lot of forensic work ahead.
And we spoke to the eyewitness who told us that a youth bowling league was underway at one of those facilities and that it was packed with people, families. The witness we spoke to had a daughter who was 11 years old. What does that tell you about the types of people who might be caught up in the crossfire?
It could be anybody. It could be kids. It could be families, old, young. It doesn't seem right now like a particular group of people were targeted because these are places frequented by everybody in the community, as eyewitnesses have described it to us. And so there's no telling why this may have happened, but authorities are going to want to get to the bottom of it.
And we know you'll stay on top of this, every twist and turn on this investigation. Thanks, Aaron Katersky.
Thanks, Juju.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.